You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kerbison, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerbison, joined with Reed Bacon. We got another great podcast today. We're talking a little bit about SEC Media Days and what we heard from there and what we didn't hear. And we're breaking down film on new recruits, new commits. Mike Matthews, 5-star, and a local kid out of Nashville, and Edwin Spillman. So we break down both of those, tell you what we like, what we might not like. So it's a really great pod. Before we jump into any of that, if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. I absolutely love the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download. Helps us so much. And follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon on Twitter for our main account, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram. If you'd like to follow Reed, it is at rbacon26 for his main account on Twitter. And then if you'd like to follow myself, it is just at Kyler Kerbison on all social medias. So check me out there. But yeah, let's jump into this podcast. All right. Welcome in, everybody. We have a great podcast. I will say it today because we have a lot of stuff we're covering, a lot of things that we're going over. 2 huge recruits we just signed and a little recap of SEC Media Days. But first, before we get into any of that, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Kyler, I just saw you about 3 hours ago.
Yes, you did.
It was
a little stop off at the picnic.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I was driving from Memphis to back to Knoxville. We got to stop off at the good old picnic and
stopped by the Titans facility and picked up a new hat.
You know what? This was actually a gift probably 3 years ago, but it's a very, very timely wear. I've maybe worn. I love the hat. It's a super dope hat. I don't really wear it a ton, but
for those listening, it is a baby blue Oilers hat.
Exactly. But yeah, I felt like it was timely, so I wanted to wear it. But yeah, it was great seeing you. Memphis was awesome. Your boy is getting his groove back in golf, which is a great feeling.
Love to hear it.
Great feeling. Man, awesome weekend to see them. Like I said, it was great seeing you and having lunch with you and Megan and my mom as you met us over there. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. The normal stuff, but I did play 18 yesterday, and it's actually like the first time I've played 18 in a while. Because usually it's like I can only get 9 in here and there.
Right.
But played 18 and played okay. Had the bad shots, had the good shots. Parred 2 holes. So it's like when those pars happen, like I parred the first hole and then I think I parred like number 11 or 12. And when that first hole when it happened, I made like a 15-foot putt too to like save par. And I was this is going to be a day. And then just triple bogeyed the next hole. So it's like, I'm still very much a roller coaster.
Where'd you play?
Played at Shelby Golf Course. It's a, okay course. Yeah, it's a muni. It's like I think like $18 to play. It's there's still sand and divots on the greens. Like it is what it is.
It's a goat ranch.
Yeah, exactly. It's a goat ranch.
But you had fun, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. So, yeah, good weekend, good round of golf. Very much enjoyed it. Very happy I got to see you today at lunch. Took me to the picnic, which I've never been to in Nashville, which is good. I think if I dive into more of their specialties, if I dive into the chicken salad, if I dive into the tuna salad, if I dive into the pimento cheese, I might fall in love a little bit more. And listen, we missed out on pastries. Like I didn't get any pastries because it's the middle of the day. Like maybe I would have gotten dessert.
Yeah, so I mean, the picnic is a very niche place that I would say no one watching or listening has been there. Maybe their moms or wives or girlfriends or whatever. I mean, maybe if we have any Nashville listeners, you know of it, but it's very much a Green Hills, Belmead, mom type place. And I grew up in Nashville, so my mom would always take me there and,
Yeah.
get a sandwich. And I love their broccoli cheese soup. It's the first time in 20 something years that I went today and they didn't have it. So my visit was a little incomplete today, but it's all Gucci. It's all
It's all
Gucci.
good. It's all good. All right, let's jump into SEC Media Days. Now, I put this as a topic and not for the same reason that most people might think. It's because nothing happens at SEC Media Days. I absolutely love it for the players. It's great promotion of their brand now more than ever with NIL. It's an honor to be there, to be one of the three guys to represent your team. I think that's awesome. But everyone knows it's coming. Everyone's preparing for it. Everyone's going over questions. And it's the most coach speak that you can get out of every single person that's there. They're doing some 50 odd interviews throughout like the 4 days. And it's just like probably more than that. And it's just like, what are they going to say? You know what I mean? Like, what can they say? No one's really going to give a hot. I mean, they made it a national headline that the head coach of Tennessee thinks that Tennessee orange is the best orange. I'm like, dude, he's the damn head coach. What do you think he's going to say? He's an Oklahoma grad. What do you think he's going to say about Texas? Like, that's not news. That was already known. So it's just, you're not getting much out of SEC Media Days. I'll say that.
Yeah, agreed. And I've brought it up before that I watched Coach Heupel's entry press conference, and I didn't watch Butch's, I didn't watch Dooley's, I didn't watch Lane's. I think I heard the only thing from Lane that I heard was, "Hey, we're gonna beat Florida, and we're gonna sing Rocky Top on the way back on the plane." Like that's the only thing I heard. So I don't watch those. I did watch Heupel's because I think I was just so curious and wanted to see. But I because I hate coach speak, I totally get why they do it. This is SEC Media Days and stuff like this is all these media people have to show up, spend the time, be super prepared, and it's like a mystery hunt. It's like a escape game. You're doing all this to try to get like one little thing. Like
That's it.
That's it. And you may get it, you may not. And those might not have been great analogies, but you get what I'm saying. You're putting in all this time and effort to hopefully sit there and be looking up, typing, and be like, wait, what? Did he just say that?
Yeah.
And it's just, and maybe you'll get one a year, maybe, and listen, if there's something that we missed, it's because you and I are probably just scrolling socials. And I'll be honest, I didn't see a ton of it this weekend. I was going to listen to Heupel's main one and then a couple other interviews from Rocky Top Insider that they had on the YouTube page. But I stayed away from my phone basically all weekend. I basically made sure we got Mike Matthews and made sure we got Edwin Spillman. And then I tried to stay away from my phone while I was in Memphis. I mean, I'm there to visit family. I'm not there to scroll Twitter. So
yeah. The only thing that I took away from SEC Media Days was something that Lane Kiffin said, and I actually agreed with. He went in on a lot of stuff in college football. He said that like it's a disaster right now, and because of NIL, it's kind of turned into pay for play. The transfer portal has kind of turned into NFL free agency, and like those kinds of things are out of control. I kind of agree with that. Like, I think there should be something of guidelines, some kind of guidelines where it's like, hey, here's the time that you're allowed to transfer, right? Like, we're not just transferring every single dead period. Hey, here's the time that, here's the things that you can get for NIL. Like, it doesn't have to be just like out of control all the time. I get that, because what I don't want is for the richest teams to be the best teams. I don't want that.
Stop. First off, Kyler, that's what it's been. It is what it's been our entire lives. So college football is not changing. Go look at the recruiting rankings from, 1998 or 2008 or 2023. It's the same. And I said no, I disagree with you because he is you said you agree with him that college football is not in a good spot. It's not in a good way.
Not necessarily.
Right.
The disaster part, I don't agree with. I think
right.
college football is awesome. I think everyone loves college football, and everyone's going to continue to love college football, and it's not going anywhere.
Right, but you started by saying it's a disaster. It's not a disaster. If you want to make some small tweaks, sure, that's fine. Like if you want to have, hey, you can only transfer during this period, fine with me. The NIL stuff is going to work itself out, and I think it's already doing so because the money comes from somewhere. And those people who are producing that money, once they spend money for some clown who hasn't even done anything for their university, oh, he's 5-star and he's awesome. Okay, well, great. Let that school get burned for the 7th time. I'm not paying another couple $100,000 for some guy who comes here and transfers a year later. And so I think all that NIL stuff is going to continue to like weed itself out. If I want Kyler Kerberson from Knoxville Catholic, instead of giving him $50K up front like we did to somebody else who's now transferred back home, Kyler, you come here and you start. You'll have $75,000 in your bank account. You come
and
here.
I think we're saying the same thing. Like
right.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like one of the things I hate about NIL is like, hey, 18-year-old, you get this much and you haven't done shit.
Yeah, but Kyler, you started off by saying you agree with Lane Kiffin, and he's proclaiming that it's and you said that the rich are only going to be the winners. Bro, it's the same teams that have been good forever with outliers every couple of years. So you don't agree with Lane Kiffin.
I agree that there should be some kind of guidelines with NIL. I think there is something should happen with NIL where it's not where it is right now. You agree with that as well, but your thought process is NIL will work itself out. No one has to come in and do anything to it. It's just going to figure itself out.
I'm fine with what it's like right now. And it's
my thing is I don't know if it's going to figure itself out.
It's not. Why do I care what NIL is right here? I honestly could truly care less. It's not my money. It's not my money. So if these kids have always acted like clowns. They've always gotten paid. I'm sorry. Some of them have acted like clowns, and you've always had prima donnas every year in every class.
Yeah.
And then life works itself out. So I really don't care. Like if it keeps going on for 20 years and they continue paying these kids big money and some of them work out and some of them don't, I don't care. It's not my money. I just want UT to win. So
yes.
So
I understand. In the grand scheme of things, I don't care either. I would rather have Tennessee win than anything. That's top of list of care factors is Tennessee wins.
I mean, but do you what was I about to ask? Do you really think that NIL's made that big of a difference in who gets players? Honestly.
I mean, I guess it hasn't. You know where it probably hits the most is the transfer portal. It probably doesn't hit recruiting as much. But I still think there's no control on it. Like I think it just does it is per team basis. They do it the way that they want to do it. There's no guidelines. There's no universal way to do it. It's just very odd and strange that there's nothing there. It's just like, hey, go ahead and do this. Like the only guidelines is that a guy gets paid. Like that's it.
So if you weren't as good as you were at Catholic and you got a scholarship offer to Vandy, you had one to Vandy. They were like one of your first SEC offers. So you start there as a freshman and sophomore, and then Tennessee's like, hey, yo, we screwed up in high school. We should have offered you. Maybe we're a different coaching staff. We want you to transfer home, and we're going to pay you $200,000. What? Who cares? Like that. Get it while the getting's good. Like I don't understand why that should bother anyone.
Yes, I get what you're saying. I think it's just like when someone transfers and they go through spring practice and then they transfer again and they got paid $100,000 while they were there. And it's kind of like, wait, what's going on? Like, what are we doing as colleges now? Like, now I have to, there's going to be a part, like you're saying, where it's going to even out what you're saying of like, people aren't going to spend the money on guys because they don't want to waste the money on guys. And what it really turns out is you're just pissing off everyone who's giving you money. Like, that's what's happened. Like, that was what was happened, because boosters or people donating money or people giving money to Aspire or people giving money here and there, they're giving money because they think they're helping the program. They think it's making a difference. And if it's being used on players that don't make a difference, it's kind of like, I just gave you $10,000 last year. Why should I give you another $10,000 this year?
Who cares? Who cares? That's between them and whoever else. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I care, because if they don't give the $10,000 and then we lose recruits to someone else because they did give the $10,000, it's kind of like, well, shit. If there were some guidelines on this wouldn't have happened.
No, that's over government. That's over government. I mean, you make your own decisions. You live with your decisions. You know, when you give a 17 or 18-year-old $15,000 to come to your school, that it might not work out. So either do it or don't. And if it hurts you from the next time doing it, then that's on the coaches. That's on Spire. That's on the staffers to get people there. So I don't know. We can agree to disagree. I mean, Lane Kiffin's only saying that shit because he's at Ole Miss and they're poor. They're a poor school, and they still really benefited from the transfer portal. So I don't know why he's talking about that. I mean, if he doesn't get Matt Golden Corral and he doesn't get Jackson Dart and some of these other players, or Zach Gibson, or I don't know, whoever else he's gotten, then like they're not going to be as good. So it's the same crap that Saban used to talk about years ago with this spread offense and the hurry up and all that. They just complain about stuff that hurts them. They truly don't care about the better of college. You really think Lane Kiffin cares about what in the future, or the future of college football? No, he doesn't care. I don't know if the guy really cares about much other than Lane Kiffin. So
no, I know. I mean, I would have said, yay, good job, like, way to bring this stuff up, but then he looks like a disheveled turd. I mean, he's literally looks like he's been in the tanning bed for 3 weeks. His hair's all over the place. He's got no tie on, and it's just like, yeah, dude, everyone looks at you as like a frat star.
That's what
who can't take care of himself, and it's like, meaning whatever you say here is taken with a grain of salt. No one, like, everyone's just like, yeah, whatever, it's Lane.
Everyone knows what they all think what I think. Like, oh, he's just saying that because he's at Ole Miss. Let Bama take him, and see what happens. But anyways, the last thing I'll say to go back about the SEC Media Day is, like I said, I didn't really watch any of it. It's all coach speak. You're there seeing if somebody trips up, and if they don't, or if they don't, then it's just kind of like, oh, that was a boring SEC Media Day. But it is, like I told you, and we agree on, it's unbelievable for the players. I know you wanted to do that, get dressed up, look swaggy, hop on the private jet. That could be a once in a lifetime for some people.
Seriously,
so it's a cool experience, and then you go and get to do the interviews. So I like it for the players. And sometimes the player interviews are some of the better ones, not when they're up on the big podium, but maybe they're doing something with like a local radio, and they're like, what's your favorite hamburger place? And they it's like funny and interesting stuff like that. But I saw Cole Kubelik, and I very, very briefly saw this. This is one of the only things I saw. So I'm not even saying it went viral or it was a big deal, but I saw Cole Kubelik kind of really hitting on Joe Milton about his arm strength. And I don't know Joe, but it did not look like he was super pumped to be like answering for the 90th million time about his arm strength. I think Joe in that clip looked about as annoyed talking about his arm strength as I'm tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
You and I have been hearing about his arm strength since 2 years since he signed, and then we go and see it in spring. We're like, yeah, he's got a rocket arm, and it's like, great, throwing the orange against the back at the actual food orange, or throwing the basketball at college game day. Like, bro, that's got to be annoying. That's like
I know.
only thing I can think about is like being a player and your dad's really good or your brother's really good. And so it's like, hey, what's it like being so-and-so's brother? It's like, hey, what's it like having an amazing arm? It's like, well, yeah, it's great. But like, I'm focused on, other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when Hyatt was coming out last year and they were like, so you're good at running go routes. And he's like, I can run every route. He had to make it a point to be like, I'm more than just one thing. And like Joe's the same. He's like, yes, I can throw it very far, but at the same time, that's not what's going to be successful. Like that's not what leads to success. It's
Right.
just being able to throw it really hard.
Or when they asked Hendon Hooker about his receivers always being open, he's like, what do you want me to do? Throw it to the guy that's not open?
Yeah.
So, anyways,
We got double coverage. Yeah, sweet.
Speaking of guys that it's going to be open a lot, it's double M, Mike Matthews. So, Kyler, I'm going to let you take this one first.
Okay, I do want to hear offer list.
Yeah, I got it coming, but I just want to say I want you to take this one first and to remind people that have been followers, and if you're not followers, if you're just now listening, I personally have been clamoring not for a good wide receiver, but a great Alabama, Ohio State, LSU receiver.
Yep.
Top 1 or 2 round draft pick. I'm not saying that Jalen Hyatt wasn't a great statistical and season. He's a Biletnikoff Award winner. I still don't think he can hold he can't hold Marvin Harrison Jr.'s jockstrap as an actual prospect or player, and that's coming from a Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
But I've been clamoring for one of these dudes. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'll tell you if I think that we officially got that or not. So Mike Matthews, just 24/7, 24/7, 22nd nationally, 8 wide receiver, number 4 player in the state of Georgia. Now the composite, number 4 wide receiver, number 3 in Georgia, and number 13th player nationally. So a top 15 player nationally. That's absurd. It's absurd. So
the highest rated wide receiver Tennessee has ever gotten.
I saw that. So Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, USC, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida State, Colorado, LSU, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas A&M. That's the best offer list I've seen in my couple years of doing this podcast with you and going through this. I'm assuming Nico's was just as good, but I don't remember it, and I'm taking Nico out of it, so it makes sense. Nico's a 5-star, Mike's a 5-star. This is the best offer list. It doesn't have anyone missing. It has all the big players, whether it's down south, out west, up north. It's got them all, so it's awesome. 6'1", 180. I saw one place that he's 6'2". Take it away.
Yeah. So with that offer list, with everything you hear about Mike, with the fact that he's the best rated wide receiver we've ever gotten, it goes to show that, like, yes, this is a good player. But you put on his film from last year, and it is underwhelming. It was not what I expected when I said, oh, I'm about to sit down and watch a 5-star wide receiver's film. Okay routes, ran some posts, caught some touchdowns, had a few plays, shows good burst. I like his burst. It felt very much like he's running routes, lulling guys to sleep and then running past them, a la Jalen Hyatt, which we just mentioned. That's what Jalen would do, kind of lulling to sleep those first 30 yards and then just blow right past him. So he might have amazing success in Heupel's offense. But when your defensive plays and your blocking is what gets me more fired up about your highlight tape as a wide receiver, that's probably not a great thing. There's not a lot of wow plays on here. Like, I really could not find one that I'm like, hey, y'all, go check this one out. There's one where he catches a slant and splits some guys and takes off. And it's like, that's great. But I went and watched 2 wide receivers in the same class that are only 3 or 4 spots ahead of him nationally. The number 19 wide receiver in Micah Hudson, who's committed to Texas Tech. The number 18, Mylan Graham, who's committed to Ohio State. Now, Mike Matthews is 22, and number 19 and number 18. You go put on their film, they're making dudes look stupid. They're juking out multiple guys to get touchdowns. They're breaking multiple tackles. They're returning kicks. They are taking screens to the house. It's different. Their films are different. Literally a couple spots ahead. Go watch their films. Like I said, does that mean Mike is not going to be a good player at Tennessee? No, it doesn't. Because, like you said, Jalen Hyatt he's not the prospect that Marvin Harrison Jr. is. He's not the prospect that Jackson Smith and Jigba is. But you use his skill sets in the correct way in a good offense, you can make him a Biletnikoff winner, which I believe Heupel can do with Mike Matthews. Some things I am excited about with Mike is he's not afraid of contact. He will run somebody over, which I love. I love the aggressiveness out of him. I love the effort he shows as a wide receiver when it comes to blocking. When he's like, oh, someone else has the ball, I'm going to go block somebody so that they can score. I love that unselfish behavior. You don't get that out of a lot of 5-star wide receivers. So those things are fantastic. But there's no wow. There's no pop. There's no, oh my gosh, I can't believe you made that play. And this is supposed to be the best prospect that Tennessee has ever gotten to go to the program. The most upside.
Wide receiver prospect.
Wide receiver. The best prospect as a wide receiver. So when you really look at recruiting rankings, what are they? What is their potential? That's what that is. What is their potential? And like, I'm looking back, I'm like, you're telling me this guy's got more potential than Robert Meacham had? Than Cordell Patterson had, than Peerless Price had. I don't know about that. Like when I watch the film, I'm not like, this guy's got potential through the roof. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's not bad. Okay. But if I watch guys ahead of him and I'm like, holy crap, this is a highlight tape. I don't know. Like, is it more impressive at camps? Is he making dudes look silly in one-on-ones? I don't know. I don't know what it is that makes him that 5-star, that makes him so much better than other wide receivers in his class. Maybe it's something that I'm not seeing. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
but
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to be negative.
But we have always been true to who we are, and that is we call it like we see it. Now, I am glad you went first.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Well, but you're the former player. You're the all SEC, captain, whatever the case may be, leader on the team. It's different coming from you. We're not, like you said, we're not saying he's not going to be good, and I think there's some really, really nice attributes to his game. I really do. But when we see 5-star and we see this, I'm right there with you. And so what I did today is I went on a deep dive and I went back. I watched Henry Ruggs. I watched Devontae Smith. I watched Jalen Waddle. I watched John Mechie, Jamison Williams. I watched all those Bama guys that have kind of come more recently. I went and watched Marvin Harrison Jr. high school highlights. And pretty much the majority of them were better.
Mm-hmm.
Waddle's maybe not so much. Waddle was only a 4-star. I think Mechie might have only been a 4-star as well. So you could have slid his in there and still been like, okay. But one of the things that I do like is the offense and defense. I truly, truly do like it, because if you just had just this offensive film, I'm like, I'm kind of like, what's going on? What's going on here?
That's why I said, that's not good that like your defense gets me more excited.
Right. And so listen, the good things, I don't want, I'm going to stop right there. The things that I really, really like about Mike Matthews, he's very, very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
He's saucy. That boy, he is saucy. He makes things look effortless, which I like that. He does have some electricity in him when it's catching and leaving. And the play at 132 that you mentioned, this is good ball. He's playing at the highest division in Georgia, like 6 or 7A or whatever their highest division is there. He comes off. He's super crispy. Pop, pop, pop in. Shows hands. I mean, he runs this route, and it looks like he's going 75% in practice. It looks so smooth. And that corner is playing off. And I don't know if he doesn't have his eyes where they're supposed to be because Mike catches it, tucks it, looks upfield, and it's gone.
Gone.
So he has some really, really nice speed. I might not say elite speed, but I did read about where he went to a camp in the Atlanta area, had one of the top 40s, which is great. So there were some times where it did look like the fastest dude on the field.
Yeah.
Then I go to I love the play at 154 when he's at safety and then the hit that he makes. I love that. I mean, if you are a 4 and 5 star blue chip guy,
yeah,
almost bothers me and alarms me when you don't play both ways in high school. And there's a ton of dudes that do that, but I like it because it shows that he is a football player. He likes physicality. He will do what he needs to do to help his team win. And
that's the most important one right there.
What's that?
That's the most. Do what he needs to do to make his team help his team win. That's the most important one.
So I thought about a guy that we were talking about last year that Tennessee fans really wanted, like a Carnell Tate type. In Carnell Tate, I didn't see much film on him. I don't know if it was IMG or whatever, but he's a big 5-star guy, chose Ohio State. Like, I remember Carnell Tate back at safety knocking dudes out. Mm-hmm. I remember at the 154 mark, he drops, open hip, high points the ball. I mean, it looks smooth. And I read that same article that I was reading about his fast 40. It said that some colleges wanted him to play safety. I think he would have been an awesome safety if that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, just hilarious. We're making Boot Carter a wide receiver when he's playing defense, and we're making Mike Matthews a DB when he's playing offense.
No, Boo. That Boo's just a whole nother.
Yeah.
that whole thing is some stuff we heard and all that stuff. But anyways, I know Mike will play receiver. I'm just saying he looks great. I mean, I think that's just a compliment to him. Like, that I think he could play secondary if he wanted to because of what he put on film. And I really do like how he finishes runs. I mean, if he's about to go out of bounds, he's lowering his shoulder and saying, "What's up?" Like, I'm here. And I love that about a receiver. I mean, You don't see that often. His sophomore year film, there are a little bit more of those wild plays, but talking about that list of guys that I went back and watched, those guys basically did it all on offense. I mean, there were some plays where they're playing running back, they're playing quarterback, and it's just an electricity to it where it's play after play after play after play, whether it's a screen, whether it's a deep ball, whether it's a hitch, whether it's their running back, and it's just house call, house call, house call. And so it's hard to compare to that. Now, like I said, Devontae Smith plays in Louisiana. Jalen Waddle, I think, was in Texas. So I'm trying to think. I know Marvin Harrison was in Philly. So I'm not saying that the competition's not as good or whatever, and this might be a little bit more difficult to literally just say, hey, toss me the rock and watch me make these guys look like clowns.
Yeah.
But I think he's really, really good. I just don't know if he's I don't know if it's what I thought elite 5-star was going to look like. It looks more like a 4-star to me.
If I watched the film, didn't know what star he was, and someone said he's a 4, I wouldn't be like, that's atrocious. He should be a 5-star. But we've watched guys that are 3 stars and we're like, what the hell is everybody seeing? So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what determines that star ranking completely, but yeah, it feels just the film, like I said, could be different at camp, could be different once you see the 40 time, once you see him do some different stuff. But the film just feels a lot more like a 4-star.
And there's just a lot of expectations, man. Like that's what I mean. There's a lot of expectations that get put on these young men, and it's gonna be tough, and but when you do hear 5-star and you see the offer list, it's like I think you and I are just probably and it's really hard to do. So it's probably not even fair that we have issue with the recruiting world because there's a lot of people that do this and there's thousands of kids.
Yeah.
Thousands of kids. So it's very difficult to do. And we really shouldn't knock the people that do it like, oh, how is this guy this and how's this guy not that and this because it's not it's an imperfect science. So but if he is a 5-star and we thought that we were gonna have our socks blown off and we didn't. That doesn't mean I don't think he's really, really good, and I'm excited about him as a player because of all those traits. And don't get it twisted. I don't want to sit here and I'll kind of push back on you a little bit when you're like, hey, post route great, like he had some very nice plays where he high points, he contorts his body, he uses his hands well. So, like I said,
I think he's a good hand catcher.
The package of a player is really good. Meaning all the attributes, like I said, feet, athletic. I did think some of his route running was pretty good. Like, the hand catching, his speed, his, going up and high point. I think all of that is really, really good. It just wasn't, it just wasn't the wow factor.
Yeah.
So, but anyways.
It's like all that, like, he's good at multiple things. But I wouldn't say he's great. And like you watch other guys' films, you're like, damn, that guy is great at that. Yeah. So I think it's just, I don't know.
Don't hate us.
We'll just leave it at that.
Hey, don't hate us. We're just trying to be honest, and we obviously hope that he comes and he's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Exactly, balls out. Okay, next one. I am excited about this. Edwin Spillman. So let's go over his offer list and size and weight.
Okay, linebacker 6'2", 214. I've seen up to 220, 225. Super productive. I love coming from Lipscomb. He was there under old Trendy Dilf, so he's been in a good college style program in high school. 24/7. He's the 28th linebacker in the nation, number 3 player in Tennessee. And then the composite is also a 4-star. The 337th nationally, 28 linebacker again, and number 8 in Tennessee from composite. Really nice offer list. So we got Tennessee, Florida State, Ohio State, Arizona State, Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Mississippi State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas A&M, USC. I mean, it's nice.
I like that Georgia offer for a defensive player.
Absolutely. It makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It makes you feel validated.
And it shouldn't, but it does.
I know, but it does. It's just like the past 2 years they've had such a good defense. That's why.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna say something. Well, go ahead. You go first.
Okay, if you want me to. I like Edwin a lot. Like you said, I love the fact that he's a Tennessee boy. I love getting Tennessee boys. Dude, loves to hit people. Loves it. Like, it's his favorite thing in the world is to hit people. Like he is playing football so that he can hit people. Which that's what you want out of a linebacker. And 214 doesn't seem real. Like, when I watch the film, I'm like, this guy's 230. He has to be.
Just how he plays.
Just how he plays, like that physicalness, the pop that he brings. Like, he does not play like he's 214. He's flying around. He's covering guys. Like, that doesn't seem like the linebacker he is. I mean, I loved most of his film. Like, he's got plays on there. He's giving directions to other teammates. He's got plays on there at 215 mark where he goes unblocked but sifts through the entire offensive line to make a tackle.
Is that the state championship play?
Possibly.
Yeah, I love that play. I love that play.
It's such a good play, and it's like, as an offensive lineman, I'm like, the way he was able to make it through the phone booth that is the interior and still get into the backfield and make a tackle, like, that shit's impressive.
Super impressive.
Another one, 428 mark, where he comes up and delivers a hit on an offensive lineman trying to block him, and you see the guy's helmet like bounce back, like he hits him straight in the chin.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's what you need to do as a linebacker. You cannot go in there timid. They are bigger than you, so they're trying to wrap up, move you out of the way, position block. You got to hit them first and hit them hard. If anybody ever taught me that, it is Dante Hightower. When I was at Patriots training camp for like 3.5 weeks, I went in half line at center. And half line, if anybody doesn't understand what that is, it is center, left guard, left tackle, maybe a tight end, and a running back. And then it is 3 technique, defensive end, linebacker on that side. So you don't have anything to the other side. So defense knows exactly where this ball's going. Offense knows exactly where this ball's going. And I hadn't taken 2 steps on the double team between me and the left guard, and Dante Hightower hit me right here in the damn temple and almost took my helmet off. And it's like, that's what you have to do as a linebacker, is you take it to them. So seeing that out of him, seeing him do it to a fullback a few plays later where he hits him first, it's like, those kinds of things, those kinds of, I don't give a shit, I'm going to hit you at a linebacker position, is so cool to see. And then the speed. And then you see him chase down dudes. And then you see him take great angles on defense. And it's like, I understand why people thought, hey, you recruit Nate Spillman so that you can get Edwin Spillman. Because this guy...
Don't do that boy dirty like that.
This guy's good. You know what I mean? Like, I get why that was the rumor, and that's what people were saying, because I really like Edwin.
Don't do that to old Nate. Don't do that.
But Nate's great too. I think Nate's a good wide receiver.
I have heard from the individual who played at Alabama, and being around him and the other former players down there, they held, as they called him, his nickname Zeus, they held Dante Hightower in extremely high regard. And anytime you listen to anything Patriots or NFL, everyone talks about him. That had to be probably one of the hardest you've been hit.
That was one of them, for sure. I got rocked by there was a Tampa Bay linebacker. Now I can't remember if it was
it wasn't like Levant, like one of their best, Levante David.
It could. So that was the thing. It could have been Levante or whoever else was there. I feel like it was like Garrett was like a last name. It was him and Levante in the same year, and they were nice, quick linebackers, both of them. But dude, yeah, I got caught in the side of the head in practice one day. Did not see him coming, and was dazed and confused for a second.
Did you go down when Dante Hightower hit you?
No, I did not fall.
So no. you were probably 315 at that time, 310?
Yeah, 310.
And so he's probably 250, 255?
Yeah, 240 to 250, I would say he is, and he's got a 6-yard head start.
Did he shit talk it a little bit?
No, he didn't shit talk me. He was just like, that's what happens, because I didn't fall. I didn't give up on the play. It was just like a shit. And then I grabbed a hold of him and tried to fight back across. but it was, whew.
Yeah. Okay, so I really like Edwin a lot as well. I think he's perfectly rated. I think he's a 4-star. Now, don't get it twisted. I haven't gone and looked at other 5-star linebackers or anything like
No, I
that.
haven't either.
But I think he's properly rated, and I think he's a really, really good player. I think he fits in well with the type of players they've brought in. I think he is a perfect come in as a freshman. Probably go ahead and start helping on special teams right away. Give some depth, and then he's probably going to be a good 2 or 3 year starter as he progresses in the program.
Dude, I could see him, his first year there, people are like, holy crap, who just hit that returner on kickoff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's coming down just laying the wood.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite plays, and Edwin was a little bit towards like, hey, let's get to the back end, the middle and back end of this highlight tape. One of my favorite plays, though, was against Catholic. And it's because you don't see a lot of high schoolers do it at all. And in college, there's a good linebacker compared to great, great compared to good, or good to compared to above average. When they're walked up on the line, so this is the 115 mark, and he walks up and he kind of looks like he might be in the A gap, maybe the B gap, and he's kind of like, hey, am I coming, am I not? And right when that ball snapped, he opens those hips, he finds his side of the field, see what's coming his way, and as he drops back, he's kind of keeping those eyes, and he sees that slant coming in, and they throw it, and he comes over, and, a 2005, 2006, you got jacked up, Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Keith Bullock, tight. Hey, I'm going to catch you. Not really Keith. I just threw him in there because of Titans, but maybe like Stephen Tulick, maybe a little Randall Godfrey. And he opens up and sees it and just blasts the Catholic wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that is impressive, because I mean, that was one thing that our like sophomore, your freshman, my junior year at Catholic, that I thought they did a really good job about is, hey, when it's pass, find your zone, find what's coming to your zone, talk and pass off. A lot of high schoolers aren't going to do that. If you run a play action, they're probably pretty screwed at linebacker. Even if you don't do a play action, they're just kind of like hovering in the middle, and then they read and react. So I love that, because what does Jeremy or Tim Banks do a lot? And one thing that we thought Jeremy Banks did well last year, Aaron Beasley, even maybe a little of Juwan Mitchell or Solomon Page, where they're showing a gap, and when they open up and they're opening those hips and running and they're finding, that is so important, because you're going to get picks, you're going to get PBUs, and you take away the throw lane. So as a young guy, that was extremely impressive. I'd rather see that on a highlight film than you coming off the edge and just blasting someone.
Yeah, so, unblocked off the edge.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was something that I was very, very, I love to see that. Another one against another Knoxville team was 139. But it is 212. It was the state championship game. At least I think it was. It's daytime in Chattanooga. But at 139 against Webb, and he's there, and they do like a little read option, and he just plays it perfectly. His read steps are like he gets those couple little read steps coming to the line of scrimmage. Quarterback gives it. He shoots his gun, wraps up, TFL, no problem. What do they do a lot in college? Play in space, play read options, do all that stuff. And so if I got a linebacker that I feel very comfortable that he reads his keys, he shoots his gun, he wraps up and makes a tackle, it's like, that's all I need. That is all I need. You don't even have to go in and body bag someone. Just do that right there, and you're going to play a lot of defensive snaps. And so I love this. Then your 212 mark here. I saw this, Kyler, and I'm watching it again. He takes his read steps down. He takes his read step down, and there is a massive hole here. And instead of just shooting it like an idiot, and I'm not just saying high school kids do this.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
There's plenty of college guys, and you can watch on Sunday that it happens, where it's like, it's like one of my favorite actors, the guy on like Replacements. And he's like the linebacker that bangs his head against the thing. He's like, like see meat, kill meat, type deal.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't do that. He reads it. He's like, okay, not in that gap. Let me climb over the top. He gets through, I think that's a tackle or a guard that's either pulled or blocked down or trying to peel up to him. That's no problem. He runs over it, meets the running back in the hole and blast buddy. And I'm like, damn, that is some high level linebacker stuff.
That
And
really is.
So it's like something like that, something like the read option, something against Catholic open hips, get a big hit PBU. Like, golly, I love that stuff because that's the stuff that really, really matters. So
It's like the proof of the technique that he has. It's the proof of, hey, your coach told you what you're supposed to do and you did it.
Right. You just see the game well. You got a good feel for football. You have all the physical gifts, but you're using them to the best of your ability because, like you said, you're reading your keys. You're opening up like you're supposed to, and you just got a good football head on your shoulders. So yeah, that was some of my favorite stuff to see. And you've already said it. I love getting one of the best players in the state. If he had gone to Ohio State, that would have been. That's a bummer, man, for them to come down and grab a kid like that. So it's great. I'm loving that he's coming here and playing with his brother, but a really, really good player, and just add it to the list of linebackers that we already enjoy. Oh, here's another one too. I forgot about this one because I didn't write it down. There's another one against Catholic, and they're running like a shallow cross, kind of like a mesh, and he's just sitting there middle. Picks it off super well, super athletic. He's not one of these linebackers or safeties with brick hands. Picks it off, and it was another one. It looks like they might have done that a good amount where it looks like he's going to walk up like he's going to blitz and drop back in the honey hole.
I was like embarrassed there for a minute watching this film. It's like, God, dude, this guy took care of Knoxville Catholic. Like he did it himself.
Catholic had a rough couple of years, and so hopefully the coaching change will help. But he does it all well, and blast people when he gets there. There's not many other good things. I mean, there's nothing bad you can say. You can go on and on about all those good plays. I like him a lot, Kyler.
I do too. I'm excited for him. I think he's going to be a great addition to that defense. And like you tied it into the way Tim Banks plays defense, the disguised blitzes, you don't know if he's coming or not. Who's going to come on this twist? Is he dropping? Like he fits in that scheme really well. So super excited for him. In closing, want to remind everybody we're going to practice. We're going to training camp. We're going to go see practice, break everything down, let everybody know what's going on. Let them know who we see, what we see. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out. Please comment. If you want to see anything particularly, please comment. I'm going to mention this again in the intro. I'm going to mention this the next 2 or 3 podcasts we have until we get there.
We will put something on social. When I know for sure when we've got our plans in place, I'll put it out on social and say, hey, be on the lookout for this. We got something that we're going to try to work it out that we can get it out day of type deal. So we go to practice and then maybe give you all a little something day in.
Yep.
Day of, excuse me. So it's my favorite podcast of the year. Oh, it really is. It's my favorite one of the year.
Yeah, I very much enjoy it. I love the access that we're getting and the fact that we get to really go to practice and see it.
It's my favorite of the year because I'm a fan just like everyone else. Like I love going and just watching. I love being out there. It takes you back to you're just playing days, whether it's your high school, college, whatever it is, and it's fun. It's fun. So.
It's a lot of fun. All right, bud. Great pod.
See you, brother.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment. Absolutely love the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download, and follow us on all those listening platforms. Also follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon for our main account on Twitter, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram. If you would like to follow Reed, his main account is rbacon26 on Twitter. And then mine, if you want to follow myself, is just at Kyler Curbison on all social medias. So check us out there. Thank you guys again for being the best fans in the world. And as always, go Vols.